record. Okay, let's try again. Hello, welcome to episode 384 of the Self-Help Podcast with me, Ed Lamb, and my live and alert pal, Sean Orford. How are you, Sean?
I'm amazing, and I don't need to freeze this time.
Okay. No, you're not freezing. Very good. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're talking about getting your... Can we swear? I think we can. We're talking about getting your shit together this episode.
SH1T.
SH1T together. Yeah, and it's, you know, if you're in the UK, you should probably know why, because things are ratcheting up in the UK, especially in the northwest in Merseyside where we are. We'll come on to that in a bit. liveinthepresent.co.uk for all the show notes and links as ever. Do check them out. Sean, how's tricks? How's life?
Okay, we're in an interesting phase in the house because we got to the point where everything fell apart. Like the boiler was condemned. And had to be replaced. Only 13 years old, but loads of problems with that. And then we had the internet redone, and you know, there's all kinds of things that have had to be done on the house. And that's a real doozy, because you have guys coming to the house, and then you have to have a sanitation station, and they've got to wear masks and all this kind of. It's crazy world, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
a lot of people are getting work done on their homes. We're not doing any physical work. We're doing, every weekend, we're doing a big tidy of a certain room in the house, like properly clearing everything out. I say it's more organised by my beautiful wife, Bethan, but it's quite satisfying, actually, you know, the before and after and the work in between, I must say.
Yeah. But, very good. So are you kind of downsizing and getting rid of the rubbish and doing that kind of thing?
Yeah, quite a bit going out. Quite a bit of clearing out going on. Yeah, you know, the lads are getting older. They've got loads of books and toys that aren't age appropriate anymore. So there's that kind of sentimental pull for certain items, which, you know, why do we get attached to physical objects? You know, we should do an episode on that, actually. It's quite fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah.
Some stuff's going in the loft and some stuff's going out to the charity shop, you know. But in the midst of all this, we just yesterday in the UK had some updated restrictions, and the good old Liverpool City region, which even a lot of people that live within the Liverpool City region might not realise that includes them, because it's Wirral, it's Holton, it's Sefton, it's Liverpool, St Helens as well, I think. I should know. Yeah. Is the first to be slotted into tier 3 of relatively severe, although not completely wacky, crazy severe restrictions. So there's not much room for extra movement from my point of view. What do you think, Sean?
Well, I mean, we've been leading quite a home-based life anyway. The one thing that we're not able to do is people would tend to come here for meals, like family and stuff like that, which has become very restricted, which is tough. But around us now, all the gyms are closing, the pubs are closing, the cinemas are closing. Everything is closing down again for at least the next month, and then it's going to be reviewed in a month. So, and that means there's people going back on furloughs of different sorts. So, on my end of things, that means people's anxiety and depression is going to be going back up again. People's financial worries. There's a whole load of stuff that's going to come in on the back of this. And we know what it was like last time we went into lockdown. And they're saying, okay, this is only for 4 weeks. I suspect that that's just a sweetener for the fact that after 4 weeks, we're going to have to go, well, we need to do a bit longer.
Yeah.
You know
how, I mean, the last 6 months has kind of zipped by, but, you know, the curves on this, of the graphs of whether it's infection rates or death rates, etc., or hospitalization rates, they take a long time to weeks and weeks to kind of plateau and then to fall, don't they? So yeah.
And that's one of the things here is that the hospitalization is going up.
Yeah.
And that means that the death rate will follow that. Yeah. Now, hopefully it won't be as severe as last time. We don't know. Are we better at dealing with it now than we were first time? We don't know. We're going to have to wait and see.
We don't know. There are a lot of don't knows. Should we know? Do you think we should know better about stuff like this?
I think it's the kind of thing that we would hope that we knew better, but we don't. And you can get into loads of political arguments about who listens to who and who's right and who's wrong. At the end, it's going to be what it's going to be. And when we come out the other side of that, whenever that is, we're going to have to pick ourselves up and look at what we got left and sort ourselves out from there.
Yeah. It was so like coming on to the episode proper this week. So it was World Mental Health Day on the 10th of October, which was a few days ago now, as we record this.
Yeah.
And there's a website, so I'll link to that in the show notes.
Yeah.
There's a tendency with mental health stuff, and you'll be able to maybe talk a bit more sensitively about this than me, to kind of, I don't know, infantilize. What's the word? I got it completely wrong there, my vocab. What I'm trying to say is that it's a bit airy-fairy sometimes. And when we're dealing with a situation as we are now, there's a kind of a get your shit together, start organizing and start taking this seriously. And, I don't want to say pull your socks up and get it together, because I'm aware that people are struggling big time at the moment. But, the next few months could potentially be, massively damaging to, a lot of people. So we need to be prepared, don't we?
Yeah. And that's really what I wanted to do with this episode. Yeah, it is Mental Health Day and Mental Health Week, but mental health isn't something which is to do with having bad mental health. We've all got mental health, right? We've all got physical health, and we might have good mental health. We might have just mental health, or we might have difficult mental health. It's not a case. It's like we've all got it. It's like what is it that we've got? And the things that came through for me last time we went into lockdown was how quickly people's sense of motivation went. And in that, it was like life became meaningless. What was the point? That was where the depression was that I was dealing with. And it was because people had stopped functioning. And so I don't want this to sound like a negative episode. I want it to be the reverse. It's like, okay, what is it that we can do, each of us, to make sure that we don't create a difficult situation, that we do stay on top of it, and that we do stay positive and have a good time, because we got to get through this, and we need to get through it with a smile on our face if we can.
Yeah, I'm just looking through as I type this now as I speak. I've got a little. My Instagram is locked. It's like for family and friends, but I used Instagram stories, and I used a little hashtag to kind of catalog all my COVID-19 memories. So what you're seeing now, if you're watching on YouTube, these are kind of memories from early in lockdown. So remember when everyone was doing the workout challenge with Joe Wicks?
Yeah.
There you can just about see, we're starting to work, we're doing schooling from home. So I'm desperately trying to keep the lads entertained and away from their screens with cookery. I'm seeing this for the first time actually in months. To be fair, like we had a blast early on in this initial lockdown. The one that's coming is going to be a little bit different. And we're making bread there. That was cool, man.
Yeah, very good.
Playing the guinea pigs in the garden. Very good. This. I mean, one thing I just want to say is like the tier 3 lockdown that we're in Merseyside, Liverpool City region, is apparently the most extreme or the highest tier you can get to. But schools are still open, and there's a lot of traffic around. So I assume people are still bombing around doing things.
Well, I was talking to a delivery driver today, and I said, "What are the roads like?" And he said, "Actually, they're quite empty."
Interesting. Okay.
So I wonder whether people are starting to kind of pull back. I mean, it's going to be a couple of days before this locks in.
Maybe I only see school traffic because that's the only time I'm leaving.
Yeah.
So it's pretty busy then. I mean, there is more room for manoeuvre in terms of how we react to the infection, I guess. But maybe they're not viable options anymore economically in terms of shutting schools and shutting businesses down.
Yeah. But it's a case of, we know what's coming now. If we can't go out like we did, and we can't have people to the house, we know this because we've done it before. So what we've got to now do is to put things in place so that we stay sane. Yeah. And yes, we're in a 4-week lockdown. I think we need to look at it in terms of what do we do if it's longer than that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that means there's things that we have to start doing now so that we don't slip and then have to make the time up afterwards, you know. So
Okay.
have the empty spaces, you know.
So what we're looking at in your blog post, I've listed some, but go on. Where are you starting?
Well, I'm looking at the three things that I see that were the killers for people, and the first one was sleep pattern, because when people haven't got to get up in the morning, they end up staying up later, and that was what really slipped for people. And the biggest problem then is that the sleep period increases, and we know that when you sleep longer than 9 hours, you're actually feeding into the depressive part of your brain. If you're depressed, you'll sleep for more than 9 hours, but if you sleep for more than 9 hours, you're starting to feed that part of your system.
Yeah, I'm actually, I mean, yeah, personally, I've got a better sleep habit now than I have in years. But yeah, in the early lockdown when schools were shut, I was staying up later and I was getting out of bed a lot later, you know, because our lads are capable now of doing their own thing in the mornings. So they're not kind of jumping on the bed at 6 a.m. anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did slip into some not mega healthy sleep patterns. But at the moment, to be fair, things are looking pretty good. But in fact, better than ever personally, because sleep's always been an issue for me. But are you finding with people that you're speaking to that sleep is something they're struggling with now? They're working from home maybe, and they haven't got a commute, that kind of thing.
Yeah. There's nothing to distinguish workspace and home space, so it all gets very bad. I told you about the guy that walks around the block, didn't I?
Yeah.
You know, and I think that kind of thing where you define, I'm going to work, I'm at home, you know, and some people I'm working with are doing the changing clothes things. They dress up to go to work. They're only going to the living room, and they spend their day working, and then at the end of the day they go and get changed, maybe have a shower, and psychologically come home. Is getting that, and that's the key, is getting the planned organization into your system. Yeah. So my thing is, don't let your sleep pattern slip. It's the first step that slides you down into the negativity.
Okay.
Yeah. So that means going to bed at a reasonable time and getting up at a reasonable time. And yes, you're allowed to lie in on Saturday and Sunday if that's what you used to do. Maintain your normal rhythm. Yeah. But when you go to bed, leave your phones and your iPads and your televisions and everything else outside of the room, and use the sleeping room to sleep in. Stop turning it into a multimedia hub, you know, which means that you don't go to sleep anyway. You know, you're just doing the same thing, but you're lying down.
So do you take the telly off your wall every night and wheel it out and put it in another room? Or have you got a telly?
Completely. No, we haven't got a telly in the bedroom. That's a deliberate move.
Yeah, we've managed to avoid that one as well. We have got in the habit recently of watching. Now it's getting a bit colder and at night and darker, of watching stuff on my laptop, and then closing it down and then drifting off. But we'll see how that experiment goes.
You know the issue with all the Apple stuff. I don't know whether others do it as well, but they take the blue light out.
Yeah.
After you set your device, so it goes more yellowy, more reddy as a screen, and that quietens your brain down. Yeah,
but I do have that set on my phone and on my laptop. Although I've just ordered a non-Apple phone. Actually, it's kind of 4.5 years since I got a new phone, and I've taken the plunge, and I'm breaking free of the system. But see how that goes. I might not like it.
We'll be interested to see. That's a podcast for the future, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm partly doing it. It's a bit off topic. I'm partly doing it just to kind of retrain my brain to learn a new system, you know. So I'm going to switch it to Android. So just to see if we can, just to stay sharp, you know. I don't want to be like one of those 78-year-old grandparents that doesn't know how to send an email or switch your phone on and that kind of thing. I want to still be sharp. Yeah. But back to the topic. So getting your sleep together, and then we've already talked about kind of doing a bit of a commute or getting some exercise in the morning. If you can combine, you know, waking up and then getting out and about and doing a jog or a bike ride or a brisk walk, physical activity is vital, right?
Yeah, and that's key for your body, but it's key for your chemistry. You know, it's key for the bones and the muscles and the tendons, but it's also key for the way your brain chemistry works. we're designed to move. You've got to move your body. Now, what's happening to me at the moment is I'm working with people online, and I've watched people change. So it started off where people would be at the kitchen table, you know, all organized. Then they were kind of on the sofa. Then they were still in their pajamas. And I've even now been talking to people in bed.
Really?
So they're actually in bed. They haven't even got out of bed.
Wow.
And it really, really isn't good. Depression is such a big issue for us. Yeah. And we've got several whammies coming up because the clocks are about to go back. We're going into dark time, which means that depression increases anyway. We've got COVID kicking at our heels, followed by Brexit. We've got a whole load of issues that we're going to have to get through here. Yeah.
Yep.
And if we don't look after ourselves, and that means us taking responsibility for ourselves now, then life's going to get worse. So the first thing is make sure your sleep pattern's right and you don't let it slip. Yeah. One of the keys in depression when people are sleeping too much, one of the treatments is to reduce their sleep pattern. Yeah. If you set an alarm for the time that you get out of bed and you get out of bed, eventually your body clock will turn around, so you'll go to bed earlier. Yeah. But by reducing the sleep pattern, you reduce the level of depression.
Wow. Okay.
Really important. Yeah.
That's interesting.
So you've got to get your sleep pattern right, and you've got to move your body. And whether that means doing Joe Wicks like your lads were doing there, or whether it means jumping up and down to Tina Turner, or whether it's running around the block, or whatever you're doing, move your body, raise your heart rate. If you raise your heart rate for 20 minutes plus, your brain will release positive endorphins that will make you feel better. Yeah. And when you've lost motivation and your sleep pattern's gone and you're on the sofa and someone's saying, hey, come on, let's get your body moving, you think, oh no. But it starts off with you lost your sleep pattern in the first place.
Yeah. And I'm not, maybe you can talk more about the science of this, but the better condition your body is in, specifically your lungs with this virus, the more likely you are to fight it off, or to be able to, you know, for your immune system to be able to not just fight off. I don't like that phrase, fight off, you know, to react to the virus, but all of the kind of things that crop up at this time of year, colds and the flu and that kind of thing. So having your body in good working order is pretty good for a whole number of reasons, isn't it?
Yeah. And there is a body of evidence developing that suggests that people that have a good level of vitamin D in their system are dealing with the virus a lot better. Yeah. And we know that we have low levels of vitamin D in this country.
Yeah. All right.
We're not good at testing it and making sure that we maintain it. Yeah.
The next thing is about food. So it's about what you're putting into your body as well, which are these, I mean, sleep, exercise and nutrition are pretty standard things that we've talked about a million times on this show, aren't they? But yeah, why do we struggle with this stuff so much?
because it all works with our brain chemistry. Yeah, it's like when your brain closes down or you feel overwhelmed, you want to go to sleep. Okay? Yeah. When a lot of people only move quickly if they're trying to get something, like they would need to get on a bus, or if they need to get away from something. Yeah, apart from that, they don't kind of move that much, which isn't very good. The food issue is the whole issue about this part of your face. We get a lot of comfort from it. You're touching your mouth at the moment, yeah, and habitually that's what we do. Which is why people say you need to wear a mask and don't touch your face. But we tend to touch this space here because from the moment we were born, we had a nipple or a teat put in our mouth, and we started to learn that this place here created safety and comfort for us. Wow. And whether we suck our thumbs, chew pens, touch our face, whatever we do, we refer back to this place. And the easiest way to do it is to put something in your mouth. Well, traditionally, people put a thumb or a cigarette in their mouths. Yeah. If you're not doing that, what do you put in your mouth? You put food in your mouth. Yeah, and you get comfort from the process of feeding, just like you did when you were breastfeeding when you were a baby. It was comfort.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I got in from dropping the lads at school this morning, and I had a sudden craving for peanut butter on toast, chunky peanut butter. So I'm not sure what the calorific value of it was, but boy, did it feel good.
But that you've just done exactly what we do. Is we know that when you eat carbohydrates, which is what you did, yeah, okay, there was protein in the peanuts, but it's carbs. When you eat carbs, your brain secretes serotonin, which makes you feel emotionally better. So what tends to happen is it's easier to sit on the sofa because you're feeling really near, and then go and belt a packet of crisps to make yourself feel better because it makes your brain respond that way. But you get the same effect if you move your body.
Okay.
Yeah, but if you're feeling a bit getting up and doing your Joe Wicks isn't as attractive as a slice of nice toast with peanut butter on, is it?
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be an episode of the self-help podcast if I didn't mention bicycles at least once. But yeah, I mean, I went to see a colleague yesterday, and I started my ride out, and I wasn't really feeling it. I was like, oh, do I have to go? I'm kind of in the habit of working from home, I guess, so I'm not really used to doing, and it was only four miles out to Irby.
Right.
So, but 2 minutes in, and like on my first little hill up to the golf course near where I live, I'm loving it. It's brilliant. And then I'm zooming down a hill and I'm out in the countryside in less than 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And then it even started raining halfway there, and it's a big deal. It's brilliant, man. Absolutely loving it. Yeah, out in the countryside, just bombing around on my gravel bike. So you've just got to get through that initial barrier, and then joy awaits, doesn't it?
It's like if you go running and you're a regular runner, and it's raining, do you think, nah, or do you just change your clothes? That idea that we don't have the wrong weather, we have the wrong equipment.
Yeah.
And all I can say is that because we know what it was like last time, we're forewarned, which means that this time we need to get it right. Not as a nation, not as a community, for us individually. If you've been through what it was like last time, look at it. What did you need? What didn't you do? Yeah, now's the time to take responsibility and do it, which I suppose is your version of put your bloody self together and do it, But it's like we got a choice here. We can either sink and go down with it, or we can use this as an opportunity. We don't have problems, we have learning opportunities, to actually make this work for us. We've got to get through it. Yeah?
Yes.
We've had to cancel 2 holidays we've tried to have, and we have a third one coming up, which looks like that could be cancelled as well, depending on what happens with the lockdown stuff. Yeah. Now that because one of the things that we've always done, we work hard and do crazy hours, quite intense stuff, and then we've had these take a week away there, take a week, and just go, and we haven't had that this year. So we're going to have to get used to the idea of holiday at home, throw a bucket of sand on the floor, pretend we're by the beach, and then we've got to do something.
You've got a hot tub, haven't you, out back?
Yeah, but it's too cold now to do the hot tub.
No, come on. I'd say I'd come round, but I'm not allowed, am I? I'm not allowed to.
No.
We class it as a work meeting. It'd be work, so we could do a podcast as we sat there. That'd make a good episode.
2 seconds. I have a parcel being delivered.
Okay. Well, yeah. While you're collecting that, I wanted to kind of get onto the idea of sleep. We've done body and getting physically active. For food, my kind of only real anxiety and anxious levels of anxiety have come about in the last few years through financial issues, and that has all disappeared in the last 6 months. Like more than we're not doing amazingly well by any stretch, but my wife's a teacher, so she's been getting paid. My business has been cracking on all right, and we haven't been spending any money, so we've actually been able to save quite a lot of cash. So in terms of anxiety, for me personally, it's been quite good, and I'm not rubbing it in. I appreciate some people are really struggling. in certain industries in particular. But on the other side is that now is a good time to get your finances in order, isn't it? Especially if you are feeling a little bit flush. I would just kind of maybe resist that urge to splurge on everything in the world, just because the next 12 months might be a little bit rocky. So getting your finances in order is probably quite appropriate right now, would you say?
Yeah, completely. And one of the things that is coming across a lot in talking to people is how people are realizing how they don't need to do some of the things they did do. Yeah. And that may be certain kind of traveling they don't need to do. The amount of people that are opting, they've had the option to go back to work full time, but they're opting to do several days from home. That kind of stuff. Like, people are changing the way they're doing stuff. People are cooking more again, which people were losing the art of cooking, despite all the cooking programs that we have and all the cookery books that keep being thrown at us. But people are actually starting to do it again, which that'd be a lovely thing. Home cooked food is amazing. Actually, healthier as well, usually. Yeah. So I think there will be lots of positives that come out of this. Yes, we can focus on the negatives, and there will be tough stuff around. But I think there will be positives. Maybe people will use their cars less and bike more.
Yeah, I mean, we are kind of undergoing a collective rethink, aren't we? In how we, it's enforced. Planet Earth has it kind of given us a real slap round the chops and say, right, Planet Earth, get your shit together. Go humanity.
Yeah.
So we can either rethink it, or we can just wait for the same stuff to start happening again and again and again. I haven't watched the latest Attenborough documentary on Netflix yet, but apparently it's pretty. He's really pushing it now in terms of.
It is.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, right. No, it is. He is right on the nose. Lovely guy, lovely work, and he shows you over the period of his lifetime the changes he's witnessed, and he has a very clear warning: if we don't do something about this now, he's showing where it's going to be in the future, not predicting. He's actually showing, what's going to happen.
Yeah. On that curve. Okay. Have you got a resource of the week, Sean, you want to link to?
Well, my resource is dead easy. Go and get a piece of paper, draw 7 columns, and start to organize your week now. So that if you're going to be in lockdown or restricted for the next 4 weeks and maybe longer, plan those 4 weeks. And I'd go as far even as to plan your food, what you're going to eat. When you're going to eat it.
Yep.
Get your cookery books out. If you haven't got cookery books, go online. Yeah. And if you are strapped for cash, go online and have a look at the amount of people that are showing you how to make meals on the shoestring.
Yep.
How you can do stuff, because it's there. Yeah. But now it's get organized time. Look at what's coming up. Look at what you've got to do and get organized, and let's do it. Let's not do what we did last time, because I saw too many people slipping downwards, and I don't want to see that again.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. And look out for each other, I guess. We're not supposed to be knocking on doors, obviously, and going in houses, but we can make phone calls, and we can FaceTime and Zoom still, and just keep an eye on each other. Hey.
Well, we've got people down the road who are isolating, so I contacted them this morning and said, I've got this window free if you need me to get anything for you, because they can't come out, and I'll do that every day that I can, and cool. To make sure they're looked after, But it's like that. If we look after each other, we're all going to be okay. That's the key. Yeah, but we have to look after ourselves. Yeah.
Yep.
So get organized.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to link to a blog post on Medium called "How to Get Your Shit Together: An Unconventional Guide," and it's quite a witty but hard hitting and relevant piece that I think people would enjoy reading. So I'll link to that in the show notes.
Yeah, that sounds good.
I think you've already planned out the next episode. It's kind of related. What was it about, Sean?
I want to look a bit more at the different kind of levels of us as people, and making sure that we're attending to our needs.
Okay.
So I'm going to do a wee handout that will go out for people who will need to fill in. Yeah, not for me, but for them.
All right,
Yeah.
bring it on. That'll be on next week. Okay, Sean, you
Yeah.
take it easy till then, and we'll see everyone on the other side. See you later.
Yeah. Keep smiling.
See you later, Sean. Bye.
You take care. Bye.
Yeah.